Hello and welcome to today's Coffee with Craig. This is where we talk about the Second Amendment and firearms-related issues, how they affect policy, education, culture, television, whatever. You name it, we're talking basically guns and gun culture. So take a second, do me a favor, share this video, share this live feed with your friends so that they can join us in the discussion. So today we're going to be talking about a very interesting piece that I recently read in the Washington Post. It was actually done by Emily. You guys have probably met Emily, or at least seen Emily Miller. She wrote a book called Emily Gets Her Gun. She's a senior editor for the Washington Times, and she actually wrote a piece dealing with and talking about the idea of why you should be able to carry your firearms across state lines. I thought it was kind of interesting because I think she makes a very good point. One that at least some of us in larger states like the state of California probably don't relate to quite as much. Most of the time when I'm traveling somewhere, if I'm driving somewhere, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be out of the state, because in Sacramento, pretty much you can drive 2 hours any which way, and you're still going to be here in the state of California. But I know that back east, in particular when you start getting into the Northeast, you can literally drive within a couple of hours, you can be in multiple different states. And in situations where concealed carry permit laws are so different from one state to another, it's an actual trip. And it causes me to reflect on a story that I had heard when I went to the Gun Rights Policy Conference this past year. And I had kind of heard it before, but it gave me a chance to actually hear this story directly from the individual. Her name is Janine Allen, and she is a single mom who a few years back was actually arrested for concealed carrying, or for having a firearm in her vehicle as she was traveling from one state to another. So let me have you listen to her story, or watch her story real quick, and we'll talk about it a little bit here on the flip side.
We were actually the first broadcast outlet to tell people about Janine Allen, mom from Philadelphia. She didn't know it was illegal to bring the gun that she was legally licensed to carry in Philadelphia into New Jersey. When she got pulled over for a minor traffic offense, she told the police about the gun and was arrested, facing a mandatory 3 years in prison. After hearing about the case, most people thought there was no way she would actually do time once she got to court, got in front of the judge. Well, she was in court yesterday. This is the pretrial memo document that shows that she now faces a maximum sentence of 11.5 years in prison, 10 for possession of the gun, another 18 months for possession of the bullets. So I went to Eatontown. I went to speak to her attorney to ask how this could happen to a person with no prior record who made an honest mistake and told the police about it.
New Jersey gun law is as unforgiving as a prosecutor or judge wants to make it. Either of those two, the judge or the prosecutor, could have taken steps to relieve Janine from this situation. But it didn't happen.
So now, as this case goes forward, she has to go to trial. This single mother, Janine Allen, is left with her only hope being that a jury who hears this case doesn't think that an honest mistake should cost her 11.5 years of her life.
You know, at what point did common sense completely leave the room when we're talking about gun legislation? I mean, the whole idea is that you want to keep criminals off the street, and here you've got a single mom, licensed to carry. She's gone through gun safety certification. I don't even understand the logic of the court system spending taxpayer money to pursue this. This woman is clearly somebody that we ought to be empowering, not putting in prison.
This made so little sense to me, to us, to social media, that I actually grilled her attorney. I said, listen, there's something you're not telling us. They found drugs in the car. He said, no, absolutely not. She threatened the police officer. She was doing something illegal.
Janine Allen has no criminal background at all. She has no firearm disqualifiers at all. Look, if she did, she wouldn't have gotten a license to carry from the city of Philadelphia.
It seems like this is more of New Jersey's get tough on gun crackdown.
Right, the same gun laws that have done nothing to reduce crime in this state at all.
Violent folks that have been indicted for aggravated assault can get PTI in that county, not the least of which was Ray Rice, who this very prosecutor gave PTI to. Ray Rice gets PTI and a 2-game suspension. I'll tell you what, Janine will take a 2-game suspension as well, and we'll settle the case. How's that?
What is going to happen to her children? Said that the first time. I'm still curious. If she goes away for even 3 years, who takes care of them and at what cost?
If you're certified in one state and the laws allow you to be certified as a gun safety expert and at the same time licensed to carry to protect yourself, at what point are we going to say driving across a state line should not deny you that right? All right, time for some common sense. Janine, we're with you.
I walked in.
See, so now you guys see how crazy that is. And the reason why I wanted to show you this story in particular was this was one of the first stories that was done on this particular issue. And what really made it interesting is these guys, these folks, they're not, at least from what I can tell, they're not a pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment, right-wing news organization. It just seemed like a regular, their state, local news coverage. But they really just, once again, found it outrageous. And the thing that really got me was how they realized that, look, here's someone who, well, number one, clearly was law-abiding because this was an individual who got a concealed carry permit in her home state of Pennsylvania. So in order to do so, you have to be a law-abiding citizen. But then on top of it, they weren't willing to give this individual a pretrial intervention, meaning she was willing to, excuse me, she was willing to, to answer for the issue. She was willing to answer for the crime. She just wanted it to be appropriate. She made a mistake. Therefore, the penalty should fit the mistake. Not, okay, we're going to put you in jail for up to 11 years. And then on top of it, excuse me, for additional ammunition, because she had hollow point bullets. Look, first of all, any idiot who knows anything about ammunition knows that hollow points are actually safer rounds for an individual to use as opposed to other rounds because, well, they have less tendency to go through things. Just saying. And they also happen to have more stopping power. But the point here is that they were willing to take someone who clearly was law-abiding, who is simply going from one place to another, right? And they were willing to throw that person under the jail, a law-abiding citizen. Now, luckily, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie chose to pardon Miss Allen. But what about the number of individuals? And I can tell you right now, I've gone through and I've read stories of individuals who got pulled over who had concealed carry permits in one state, but yet they were in another state, and they would wind up, in some cases they got arrested, in some cases they were assaulted by police officers or arrested and assaulted by police officers. Simply because they were exercising their right to bear arms and didn't realize that right did not extend beyond the state line. And that's the crazy thing. That's like saying, okay, you have a right to vote in this state, but you don't have a right to vote in the next. So if you show up there and you try to register, well, you're going to have to pay the price. Or you have a right to free speech in this state, but if you go to the next state and you try and speak up, well, once again, don't be surprised if you catch a beat down. That's what's happening right now. And quite frankly, in many cases, some of these municipalities wish they could do that on a local level. Here in the state of California, I can tell you right now, the city of San Francisco and the city of Los Angeles would love to be able to control who is able to do what within their towns. They would love to say, no, you cannot conceal carry in their cities. And they probably would love to see you get a beat down if you had a CCW and you carried in their jurisdiction. Or at the very least, they'd like to see you thrown under the jail. But that's the thing. Civil rights, they don't have state borders. All right? The right to bear arms is in the U.S., the United States Constitution. It's there for a reason. And it means that it says that it shall not be infringed. That should include by state law. Period. I don't even think it requires any additional explanation, and I'm sure you don't either. Anyway, thank you folks so much for tuning in. We enjoy having you guys. Please remember to like and share these videos and let folks know about the Firearms Policy Coalition. We are the home of the fight for civil rights. Got to use them or you're going to lose them. Take care.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.